everything that made you sad. And what a week we've had in these weeks we've had following the Super Bowl. We've got the NBA All-Star Game weekend all by itself, showing that still people don't care about the NBA All-Star Game or really any All-Star Game of any kind. We've got the women's and men's tournaments in the NCAA going crazy right now. And of course, we've got some crazy things going on playing Will They, Won't They with Aaron Rodgers and your favorite football team that doesn't have a quarterback. Maybe they'll trade for Matthew Stafford. And of course, we've got Justin Tucker challenging Deshaun Watson for the mantle of worst possible human being in the NFL. And now he's at 17 accusers. So that gives us something to talk about. And right away, I don't know if you recall when this whole thing started off, Justin Tucker came out with a letter talking about how he was innocent, claiming that everything was fabricated. All these claims are false. Nothing is real. Well, Justin, learn from Blake Lively and make sure that the people you're saying are filing unfounded claims against you don't have the receipts. Because now at 17, you are chasing Deshaun Watson. And at this point, you've just got to retire, I think, if you're Justin Tucker. And then I'm hoping that he gets to go to jail for this. I mean, he's a multi-million-dollar athlete in the NFL, a white guy, but he should retire, face the consequences. I really hope that he gets what's coming to him in this, because this is disgusting. 17 people, it's not a lie, right? These people don't get together. We did this with the Deshaun Watson thing. These people don't get together and decide, hey, let's all file a claim against this individual. There is something there. He has done something. He is a despicable human being and should be recognized as such. So now that we've got the Justin Tucker talk out of the way, let's talk about this NBA All-Star Game, where Steph Curry once again proves he is the best shooter on the planet and perhaps the best shooter to ever live. Stephen Curry lit it up, won another All-Star Game MVP, and still no one watched. How did we all find out about it? We found out on ESPN apps, sports apps, Twitter, everywhere, Instagram, everywhere you might get news outside of the actual game. No one was paying attention. And I think it just comes down to NBA fatigue. They had the weekend to themselves this time. There was nothing else going on when the NBA had their NBA All-Star Weekend. And the skills competition was great. Of course, we got to see Wemby and Chris Paul cheat their way to disqualification and not make it all the way through to the next round. But Tyler Hero won three-point competition against Buddy Hield, not Stephen Curry. He would have lost that one, as we saw in the All-Star Game. And that was fun. The dunk competition, Mac won again, and it's all he's ever going to be known for, which is kind of funny. There was a great meme on the internet of Captain America as Mac getting thought out only for the dunk competition. And it's so funny to the point where they even showed an old video of Mac at Disney World, and some kid was wearing his jersey, and he said, "Hey kid, nice jersey," and the kid just kept walking because he didn't understand that was Mac telling him he's wearing his jersey, nice jersey. And that's where we're at with the All-Star Games. And Stu Gotch from the Lebatard Show even tweeted out, if you have people that are not All-Stars in your All-Star Game, you have a Some Stars game, which is incredibly accurate as far as the NBA All-Star Game is concerned. And there's no fixing it at this point. It's just fatigue. The season is too long, much like baseball. It's too much to pay attention to. The players don't care. The players are treating the NBA All-Star Game at this point like it's a break for them. Like it's something that they don't have to do or take seriously, so they won't. And I don't blame them. In an 82-game season, especially for the players that, play all 82 games, not the ones with, hangnail injuries and have to sit out, Joel Embiid. But the players that are actually playing all 82 games, or at least attempting to play all 82 games, it is a break and they deserve it. So the only way to really remedy this is a shorter season. The only way to encourage fan attention is stakes, and there's just not enough stakes on an 82-game season. No one's going to watch it for all 82 games. We enjoy the NBA. We watch as many games as we can, but it's not appointment television like the NFL is. sorry, All-Star game. We love the skills competition, but NBA, it was a whiff again. It's not working. You're going to change it again. We all know Giannis Antetokounmpo is already attempting to change it with his Team USA versus the world format, which NHL already did. Like, I didn't hear his full quote, so maybe he referenced it. But the NHL has already done this in their All-Star game. They already did a Team USA versus the world as far as that's concerned, and it still didn't garner viewers, just showing you people don't really pay attention to All-Star games anymore. And we can blame it on the players not trying. I just think that it's not what it used to be. There was nothing else to do. Now you're holding in your hand so many other things you could be doing outside of watching NBA All-Star Weekend, where no one's trying. There are no stakes. There are literally no stakes in these All-Star games outside of the MLB as far as home field advantage is concerned. So why would anyone watch? There's not a reason. It's like, well, we get to see all our best players all at once on the same court, on the same field, on the same ice. Well, guess what? Because cable television exists, we don't have to wait for that moment to see all the best players on all the best, on one court, on one field, on one ice. So because of that, I just don't think it'll ever be the same. It just won't. It's not what it was because it doesn't have to be. We could watch these players anytime, almost anywhere. So it's just not going to hold the weight it used to. Now, I referenced the NFL, and I referenced we've got games of will they, won't they with Aaron Rodgers. And again, just like I just said about the alleged sexual assaulter Justin Tucker, it's time to hang him up. Do we really feel like he could help a team? Probably not. The team has to have every single piece around him ready to go. He's not the person that can carry the Mike McCarthy Packers to the Super Bowl anymore. And he couldn't really do it when he had those abilities, right? They made it to one Super Bowl, which is an indictment on both him, the Packers, and Mike McCarthy, on all of them. Sorry, not just both. All three of those entities should be blamed for that, because as crazy as Aaron Rodgers is, he is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And you can argue with it, you can squabble with it, but facts are facts. He is one of the best to ever play the game. But it was never the right place, it was never the right surrounding cast, and it was never the right coach in Mike McCarthy. As we saw in Dallas, it just wasn't going to work out. So as we see rumors swirl around that it could be the Raiders, it could be the Colts, it could be the Steelers, it should be the retirement home. It should be over. It's done. There's no need to see what Aaron Rodgers could do anymore, because he can't do anything. There's no game there for him to play. There's no reason for him to play that game. And it's time for him to hang up the cleats and go sit on, Joe Rogan's lap and do that podcast with Joe Rogan from now until forever. He's going to make a great living doing things like that. Pat McAfee already pays him $1 million an episode. So what has he got to lose? Go ahead, go on that show with Pat McAfee every single week and spread your propaganda. Do it for $1 million a week, because that's what ESPN and Pat McAfee are willing to pay you for your dribbled out nonsense, and give us nothing in terms of your NFL knowledge. Give us nothing in terms of what could have been your legacy. But go away from the NFL. We saw it last year. There is nothing left in that tank. Not everybody's going to be Tom Brady. His only shot is if he goes to maybe a 49ers, who it looks like they're disassembling their entire team at this point in time too. So the next logical step for us to move on to is Matthew Stafford, who is also a quarterback in his mid-30s, who is also probably getting close to that retirement age. And it's not him asking to go to a contender. It is now the Rams shopping Matthew Stafford around to see who wants Matthew Stafford. And again, I don't think anyone wants Matthew Stafford for what the Rams are looking to get for Matthew Stafford. And though he is a gamer, his body has got to be so broken from that. He's played through so many injuries to get to where he is at this point in time. And it's over probably for him too, But if I had the chance to decide as an armchair GM, I would probably go ahead and go with Matthew Stafford simply because he's done it more recently than Aaron Rodgers has. He seems to have a little bit more left in the tank. But now think about this. Let's just put it in terms that kids will understand. He's literally watching on the sidelines as his spouse, the Los Angeles Rams, shop him around to other spouses because they're tired of this relationship. And it's all playing out right in front of him. How that's gotta feel terrible. He's literally watching his team that was a suitor of his, right? They got rid of Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford at one point in time, saying, hey, we know he's watching right here on the couch next to us, but what you doing later, right? What are you willing to give us for this old guy? What can we get to get rid of him? And I think one of the reports I read was they were asking the Giants for their third overall pick, which is crazy. Because if you were the Giants, why would you do that for 2 years of Matthew Stafford? That's insane. Even though there is not a great quarterback in this class, and we've been over this in previous episodes, right? You've got your Cam Ward, who's good, who's serviceable. You've got your Shedeur Sanders, who's serviceable, who's good. And then you've got a lot of quarterbacks in the later rounds, the Jackson Darts, the Quinn Ewers, that a team could chase and see, is this the person that is going to step in and be our Brock Purdy? While the 49ers look like they're trying to move on from Brock Purdy pretty openly. I'm sure they're going to not deny these things, but it currently looks as though they're done with Brock Purdy. And it could just be that they're not going to pay Brock Purdy for his services. And he's definitely earned that money, and you've got to feel bad for him. But he's in that line of players that you have to make a decision on. And it's got to be a business decision. Is this the person that we want to pay for the next, 4 to 5 years, hundreds of millions of dollars, a large portion of our salary cap to get to maybe late in the playoffs? Now, Brock Purdy is an interesting case study, right? Because he actually did go to the Super Bowl and he's been solid. But is he worth game-changing money? Meaning, is Brock Purdy a player that can take over a game by himself, a needle mover? And I'm sorry to say it, I just don't know that he is. We've remarked on his running ability being underrated, but that's not going to win you games. He needs a strong surrounding cast, strong offensive line. When Trent Williams went down, that team was in shambles. And it looks like they're in the game for everyone. The 49ers want everyone but who's on their team. So I just think that team needs to take a step back right now and at least be excited for being in a bad division. It's crazy how quickly that division turned upside down, but being in a bad division with a Seattle team that doesn't have a direction, with an Arizona team that doesn't have a direction, and a Los Angeles team that's looking to get rid of their starting quarterback and say, you know what, let's see what we can do with the pieces we have on the field. Let's franchise tag Brock Purdy, which you've got to feel terrible for the kid about because he's done nothing but play great since his rookie year. And let's see what Shanahan can do with these pieces as far as getting us into position to be a great football team. And then, of course, you've got the Tyreek Hill saga down in Miami. He's literally tried to take back all the things he said directly after the game, but you heard me directly after the season about not wanting to play there. And you heard my response to this. The easiest time for a player to say they're done is at the end of the season. So if he is indeed done with Miami, what could they even get for him at this point in his career? He's in his 30s. He's doing novelty races. He's more concerned with his podcast than his play on the field. He did not have a great season after being voted by the players to be the best player. It's looking like a long road for these over 30 players. And it's looking like Debo Samuel will probably set the market as far as what the value will be for a lot of these players, not the quarterbacks, of course, but a lot of these players like Tyreek Hill and Pickens who have asked their team to give them a trade. Pickens is still young, so he's probably going to get more. But Debo Samuel is probably the better player out of all of the players that have requested a trade so far. Of course, you've got T. Higgins. The news just came out that the Bengals are looking to franchise tag T. Higgins. You feel bad for him again, but they're trying to keep that offensive core together in Cincinnati and see if they can run it back. I'm here to tell you that offense was unstoppable. The TheSadFan's offense is going to be unstoppable. This is a quick show this week. We wanted to get something on film for you. We will be back next week at our new time and day. So please join us. And again, thank you for always being there.